All right, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Loretta McNary show. We are streaming live here on Facebook and on some other platforms, but I'm concentrating on Facebook. And this lady that I'm going to talk to today, that you will get to meet, and you're going to adore her and claim her just like I have. Susan Banks, she is one of the most powerful women in cable TV. Let me tell you that, one of the most powerful. Okay. And she has so many accolades after that. I don't want to spend a lot of time reading her bio, which is super impressive. Makes me wonder why she took the time to be with us today. But let me see if I can enable our comments, because I told everybody they could ask some questions. So that's gonna show up when they're here. So Susan Banks, everybody, she is the writer of this new movie that's coming out on TV One on Sunday, July 19th, 9 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Yeah, and on TV One. You are going to love that. I know you said we need another love story. Of course, we need another love story. How many of us have our own love story? So I can't give you a spoiler alert, but let me just bring Susan on to the show. Hi, Susan.
Hi, how are you, Loretta?
I'm great.
Nice
How
to
are
see you.
you doing,
Thank you for having.
superstar? I
I think
have
you've a
read.
little bit overdone it. Okay, I don't
No,
think that it's all
I
that
didn't
bad,
do it enough.
but
People,
thank you.
please Google Susan Banks. Okay, that's all you need to do. Just Google her. So, Susan, how long have you wanted to be a writer, a movie writer? Because most people just want to write a book. You
Well,
wrote a
I
movie.
think I've been writing all my life. I can remember being a little girl and being fascinated with reading. I know my mother would kill me if she knew that she would put me to bed and I'd be reading under the covers at night. I love books. I always loved to read. And so, of course, if you love to read, you want to write. It kind of just goes together. So I feel like I've been writing all my life. And,
Hmm.
but I started out at CBS writing on air promos, little short 30-second pieces, 20 seconds, 10 seconds, little short pieces. And it was always a dream of mine to write something longer. And so I, started writing for shows, little shows and things like that. And it just started to grow into now, writing movies, which is exciting for me. It
Was it
is a
something
definite
that you
progression.
was easy? Was it easy though? Because I've been wanting to do that too. I did a screenplay with a friend of mine, Sheila Bell, who is a prolific, God talented writer of Christian love stories about perfect stories about imperfect people. And she and I did a screenwriting of it, got it down to what we needed, and been doing it. But you actually have a movie that's airing.
Yes, I mean it's exciting. It is not easy, especially is not easy before you get the first words on the page. That's when it gets really kind of crazy and scary because you're looking at it going, where do I begin? How do I begin? How do I begin? But then once you start rolling with it and you know your characters and you fall in love with them and you start to see how they like to live, you hear their voices in your head. Coins for Love is great because it is a sequel to a movie TV One did about a year or so ago called Coins for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And Coins for Christmas, I got to know who the characters were. I got to hear their voices. I got to hear how they thought and how they worked and what they liked and didn't like. So, in that respect, it made it easier for me to write for them.
Yeah.
As opposed, so that was great. And Essence Atkins is just so amazing an actress
Can
and
we
so
just talk
exciting.
about her for a minute? Can we just talk about Essence Atkins? Oh my goodness. My sons fell in love with her on that first show. Was it? She had a sister. What was the name of that show though?
Which one?
She
She's
was
done
spoiled.
a
It was
million.
Big Dee and Little Dee. I know that's. I know she's done so many shows. I got to think of it, half and half, and that's when my sons
Oh,
fell
half
in love
and
with
half.
her.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. I loved her in that too.
It
I
was
loved
quite
her
a
in
while ago, but I still remember her from
that.
that. And
That
I
was
love
really
her
good.
character. I love her energy.
Yeah, I remember now. I remember now. You're right. That was one of my favorites too. She's
Hmm.
just amazing, so charming and lovely, and so talented too. She's very talented, and I like watching her work, and I like the energy she brings to the show.
Mm-hmm.
She's just wonderful. And Stephen Bishop is just the most charming man on earth. I mean, he just
Yes. I should have
exudes
had a picture
charm.
that I could bring on screen to let everybody see who Stephen Bishop is. People do not sleep on Stephen Bishop. Let me tell you, this guy is handsome, he's charming, he's smart, and he's like so soft spoken, but he just he just embraces these guys that he plays, and he is so
Yeah,
intense and how he looks at you. I love him. So I
he
want
is
to, before we
adorable.
talk
This
more
is
about
the
the
second
movie,
movie I've done with him.
what you say, Susan?
This is the second movie I've done with him. He was in another movie that I produced
What
as
was that
well.
movie?
Media. That was
Media.
Media. When we did Media, yeah, Stephen Bishop was in that movie, and I just fell in love with him then.
Oh, well, when the next time you talk to him, tell him I'm so in love with him for real. And we have some people that
I'm
are
sure
watching
he's
on
awesome.
Facebook. Isn't he awesome? Is he married?
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
I think
So
so.
Felicia, good question, but he's married. Hi, Diane Towns, and she said this show is awesome. So we just gotta let our viewers in Facebook land know that we appreciate that. So let's come back to that movie. But you also were the executive producer and the executive in charge of the production of the one-on-one with Kathy Hughes, who is one of my she doesn't know she's my mentor, but I have loved her forever. Her story is super amazing. It's miraculous to me. So tell me how that came about with you and her.
Well, I got to tell you, Kathy Hughes is probably the most dynamic, amazing woman one will ever meet. She is a go-getter. She's brilliant. She's sharp. She never misses a beat. She never forgets anything. I mean, I am in awe of her whenever I'm working with her. She is just phenomenal. And when I went to TV1, when we started the network and launched the network, I was heading up the marketing division. And I got to meet Mrs. Hughes and work with her. And she and I kind of hit it off really well. She's such a lovely person. And then she had this idea that she wanted to do an interview show. And believe it or not, the first person she wanted to interview was Barack Obama. And Barack Obama was running for United States Senate at the time. He was a senator in Illinois, and he was running for the United States Senate. And so she asked me, would I work with her on it? And of course, I said, of course, of course, of course. So we quickly put together this show. We had a window of time that we could work with him. We quickly put together this show, got the questions all ready, and did a wonderful interview with Barack Obama. And it was the very first TV one-on-one. And from there, we went on to produce TV one-on-ones with, oh, everybody you could think of: Terrence Howard, Will Smith, Jamie Foxx, um, uh, Quincy Jones. The list is so long. We did about 50 of them with every celebrity you can think of. Queen Latifah. I mean, Denzel Washington. We did everybody. Don Cheadle, Chris Rock. We did them all. It was just wonderful, and it was a great experience because I really got a chance to work closely with her and get to know her style and learn a lot from her
Yeah.
as a medium owner.
Let's just pretend that everybody has not heard about Ms. Hughes, and let's just tell them who she is. Most people know Radio One. She's the founding president of Radio One, and she was a single mom when she bought the radio stations, living at one of the radio stations. So can you just kind of elaborate on her story for a moment so people don't think that she just grew up and had it easy, and
Oh
that's
no.
why she's a successful icon?
Oh no, she worked hard to get where she is today. I mean, she has an amazing backstory of how she created this empire all on her own. Um, she started a radio station in Washington D.C. Finally bought a radio station. She started at Howard University actually, and actually it was her idea to create the Quiet Storm, which I know a lot now. It's all over the country. The Quiet Storm is everywhere. People have picked up that format everywhere in cities all over the country. But she created it first in Washington, D.C. at WHUR at Howard University. And I remember being a teenager listening to WHUR. I had no idea who was behind it at the time. And then she went on to buy her own radio station, the first radio station she bought here in Washington, D.C., WOL. And then after that, it just blew up. The whole thing blew up. And, I am in awe of her and all that she does. And then they went on to launch TV One. And now they have a whole internet angle and TV One. I mean, Radio One. It's just a media mega in company right now.
Right,
So,
she is
she's amazing.
I love it. And, I just wish that we told her story more, because I assume she's very modest, because if I had achieved all that she's achieved, and she came from, just out of nowhere, and people think it's an overnight success, but she's been doing this for years, and her son is very involved in the business. So,
Yes.
yeah. So let me talk about when you first got into TV, though. What was your first gig? Because most people want to start where you are. So how did you get into they do. Everybody wants to be executive producer of a movie on national syndicated TV. So how did you get started?
I wanted to do that too. I went to Emerson College and got a degree in television production. And then I moved to California on a wing and a prayer, and knew maybe one person there. And somehow I was able to land a position working as a production assistant on a educational television programs. It was an organization that was producing educational television programs. And from there, I went to CBS looking for work, knocked on the door, and they sent me down to the on-air promotion department at CBS Television at Television City. And I went there and I started working my way up to producing on-air promos. I became in charge of the on-air promotion for daytime television. I worked my way up to being the director of on-air promotion for daytime television. And that means we just produced little promos that told you what was going to happen next on the soap operas. And we would come up with all these intriguing, exciting ideas to make the audience be interested in watching. And it was a lot of fun, and it was challenging, and I just loved it. And from there, I went on to produce little shows for CBS. During the OJ trial, we were always being preempted. They kept knocking daytime off the air for the trial. And so our audience was getting really mad because, soap audiences, they don't play. And they were getting really, really angry. And so the head of daytime programming said to me, Lucy Johnson said to me, we need something that we can put on the air so our audience knows they're not missing their show, because everybody in every city thought, I missed my show, something's going on and I'm not seeing it. So we said, okay. So that's when we came up with the idea of CBS Soap Break. And I did an interview show where we ran around to the homes of the soap stars. And we'd show little bits of their performances on the show and find out where they lived and how they lived. And it was fun. And I think people really liked it. And it kind of, when we knew we were going to be off the air, or, we never knew when we would be back on the air. Instead of putting on a random show that's out of context and you didn't know what happened last, we'd put in a soap break. And so they got a little taste of their favorite soap stars and a little bit of their show. And so it was kind of bridging the gap. So that's how I started producing shows. And then I got the opportunity to go to TV One. And it turned out that TV One was right up the street from where my mother lived in Maryland.
Wow.
When I heard that, I thought, I'm supposed to go do this. And so I did. I took the leap of faith and I moved back east and started working at TV One, and I've enjoyed it.
You moved? Since. Okay, slow down, Susan. Because I'm loving this story, but I know there's some people watching and they want to hear when you said leap of faith. I know they're all like, okay, we want to hear that part. Not that everything else wasn't super, super interesting and amazing, because I just want to talk about those soap opera things that you were doing, those little tidbits so people wouldn't miss it. I think that is genius. So
Oh, I love that.
when you found out that TV, did you have your job before you moved there? Or you didn't have the job with TV?
No, when I moved to, oh, you mean at TV1?
Yeah.
Oh,
You said
yeah,
they were
yeah.
down the street
I
from your
interviewed with
mom.
them. Yes,
Hmm?
I moved there from, I moved back home from LA to launch TV1. I had moved to LA, gotten the job at CBS television, and had started promoting the soap operas, Young and the Restless, Bold and the Beautiful, As the World Turns, and Guiding Light. Those were the shows that were on at the time. And so I did the promotion for them, worked on Emmy shows. Whenever CBS had the Emmys, I would produce for the Emmy shows. I just had a lot of fun at CBS. But then this opportunity came up when I heard about this new network that was starting up called TV1 for African American adults. And I was thrilled by it because it was always so important to me that we change the vision of what we look like to the world, that
Mm-hmm.
we promote positive images. And, I was excited about the opportunity of furthering that goal. And so I applied for the job. Actually, someone called me and told me to apply for the job. I thought, I'm in LA, I'm leaving CBS, I'm not going to a little startup. And I didn't even know where it was. I thought, oh, it's probably in New York or maybe it's Atlanta. I'm not leaving LA. And then I found out it was like 5 minutes from my mother's house. And to make that leap was pretty scary. I'd been at
Yes.
CBS for over 20 years and I had a nice, cushy job where I was producing shows and coming up with creative ideas every day. I needed an idea a minute at CBS. And I love that. But I thought, you know what? This is a sign. I mean, what are the odds that there'd be a new network starting 5 minutes from where my mother lived? Come on. I'm supposed to go home. And I did. I stepped out on faith. I stepped out on faith. And it
That
was
is
the best thing
definitely
ever.
stepping out on faith.
It really was. It really
Because it
was.
was a
But I was
startup. It
really
wasn't like the TV1 that we know today. And then you had
no
already
nobody
established yourself and you left that established job, cushiony. You knew everybody knew you, and I'm sure you could go as high as you wanted to go. So the
well,
deciding
you never
factor was it's 5 minutes from my mother.
I just thought it was a sign. I really did. I thought it was a sign. I thought God was speaking to me and saying, this is where you're supposed to be. And as it turned out, it really was because 5 years later, my mother got really ill and I was home. I was able to be home to be with her. And
Oh my
so
goodness.
that is how I knew that that was meant to be,
Where you were
you know?
supposed to be. Okay, Susan, I want to slow down just a minute because when we're going to air this on the TV side too. So I want to pause for a break and I want to start calling some of these people that are sending the comments and let you know what they're saying. And so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put a banner on the screen and for a few seconds, and then I'm going to come back and call out the people and tell you some of these comments that they have. So we're going to pause for a second, okay?
Okay. I see somebody said, was that always your dream to be in television?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it
So
actually
we're going to
was.
pause. All right, so we're going to go back to our comments. I'm so excited that these people are taking the time to really come on and tell us how they feel. Yeah, so you want to answer Sharon Renee Thomas's question. Was that always your dream? So everybody put your questions in. I like the kudos and the accolades, but ask her some questions. So Sharon Renee Thomas said, and you see it on the screen, was that always your dream to be in TV?
Sharon, absolutely it was. I graduated from Emerson with a television production uh, uh, degree, a degree in communications, mass communications, with a specialization in television production. And I always wanted to produce television shows. I didn't know what jobs there were. I didn't know exactly, you know, how to get in. And when I moved to California on a bit of a whim, I got there and started learning what existed and where to go and what to do. And when I ultimately knocked on CBS's door, they said, "Oh, well, you should go down. We have a position in the on-air promotion department." And I said, "Okay, I'll interview." I didn't know what on-air promotion was at the time. And I said, sure, I'll interview. And basically, they needed someone to answer the phones and type up the payment sheets for the announcers. And I thought, I can do that. And so I got the job, and I started looking around and wondering, what is it that they do here? What is this all about? And I started learning what the job was. And I looked around the office and I said, there's one person whose job I would love to have. I need to drive her off a cliff. She's all involved in it. Everybody talks to her. She knows what's going on. She makes a lot of decisions. That's who I want to be. And I'd be doggone it, that girl didn't walk in a month later and quit. She was going to.
Oh wow!
I didn't get her job, but the girl who was her assistant got her job, and I got the assistant job. And
okay, so I want to. That is definitely destiny. So Susan, you say you just walked and knocked on the door. Is that like literally?
HR. I went to HR at CBS Television, and just was going to put in a job application. I didn't know what jobs they had. I didn't know what was available. I just interviewed with the HR people, and they were so wonderful and said, "Oh, I know you would fit in down here in on-air promotion." And I went down there and got the job. And like I said, it was just answering the phones and typing up little things and stuff like that. And I got the job, and then I worked my way till I could get promoted and ended up, producing and writing and doing all kinds of wonderful things. And then daytime was promoted from New York. And at some point, CBS decided we're going to shut down the New York division of daytime. We're bringing this to the West Coast, and you all are going to have to do it out of your department. So I went to my boss and I said, "Oh, well, I want to be the manager of daytime. I love soap operas. I want to be in charge of the promotion for daytime soap operas." And so I worked my way and got that job. And I was so excited about it. And I remember my first campaign was in the heat of it. And I had these boards made of the show titles, made giant stamps out of the show titles. And we went out to the beach one day and we stamped the show titles in the sand and let the waves crash and wash it away. And we're in the heat of it on CBS daytime, right? We were out there all day long. Okay, we were out there all day long looking for a good wave. It was like must have done 100 takes. We had more titles to do too. We were out there trying to find the perfect wave, the perfect title in the sand, and then the perfect wave. And then we used Patty Austin's "We're in the Heat of It" as the music. And we had the end graphic that summer long was CBS daytime, in the heat of it. And the waves would crash and wash the title away.
Oh my goodness. Can I play you a portion of your life when they make a movie about your life? Can I just be?
Oh,
can I just be there?
You have all my permission, because I don't think we're gonna have to worry about that.
Oh, honey, because you are destined for all of that to happen. Because you just have this crazy faith. You move and you just go knock on a door and say, "I want a job here," and you get the job.
I got the job. I did. I got it. But I feel like I struggled so hard, though. I was in LA for a year, I think, 2 years. I was in LA 2 years before I got the CBS job. I was working for a company that produced, marketed, and promoted children's television programs. It was educational television. And then that folded. And so I was back out on the street again looking for work. And I just knocked on CBS's door saying, "What y'all got up in here? What do y'all do? What can I do in here?" And
Okay, so
I
what
mean,
would you
just
say to somebody
typing.
that's watching and they said, okay, what I can't literally go knock on the door, but how can I get in?
Well, I got to tell you, you can get in by taking the absolute lowest job. The job I took was the absolute lowest job. I went in there. If they had said, "Oh, you can work in the mailroom," I probably would have taken the mailroom job. But it just so happened that they had an opening for an assistant to answer the phones. Okay, in the on-air promotion department, the job was what I made it. Once
Mm,
get in the door. That's what I say. Get in the door any way you can, however you can. Get in the door. And
get
once
in
you
the
get in the
door.
door, then people get to know who you are. You get to know who they are. You get to find out what jobs are available. You get to find out, when people are leaving. You get to be the first one to get in there and put your hat in the ring. Just get in the door. Don't be so prideful and say, "Well, I have a college degree. I should be, a big time producer now." You're not going to be that right away. But if you get in the door, you can work your way up and you'll have the degrees to back you up when you try that.
Oh, and you have this can-do attitude that is so priceless for people who want to hire somebody. Can you see that comment I just put up there?
I see the comment. Hi, cousin. How are you, darlings? I love you all. I'm so glad you all are watching. And in 5 years, I see myself sitting on a beach with royalties rolling in from all of the programs that I've produced and all the residual payments keeping me alive. Maybe it might be 10 years, but
But it's
that would
coming.
be that would be
It
the
is
goal.
coming. Okay, let's Marsha Claiborne. Loretta, do you plan on heading that way? I'm not sure what way you're talking about, Marsha. Can you elaborate? Because my goal, well, Susan, this is crazy. I had a vision for a show in 2006. I was working for a college, a Christian college, in the Bible and theology department. We had to go to mass every Wednesday. I literally must have blanked out because I saw myself on that stage hosting a show, a TV talk show. Now, I was working
All
for
right.
Time Warner at the time, hosting their public access show, but this show was going to be unique in that it was going to be my show. And here we are, 2020, and I'm still doing this show. I've covered every national red carpet, from everything but the
Oh,
Emmys. I have not been able to get those credentials with everything else from country music to the Image Awards, the Oscars, the pre-Oscars, post-Oscars, Night of 100 Stars, just tons of red carpets. I've had
that's
Denzel
good.
Washington. I've had celebrity interviews at the Yin Yang, and I'm headquartered in Memphis doing my thing. Got people like Susan Banks on my show. So I have the favor of God all over me.
No, no Denzel Washington here,
Yes,
darling.
I
I think
did.
that's
I
fantastic.
got a
I
picture
think
with
that's
him to prove it and an interview. And he doesn't give
that is
interviews.
so wonderful.
Yeah,
No, he's
he
this is
does not. And
fantastic.
I was the only one other than CNN that night at the Image Awards that he gave an interview to. He was on his way out the door, and somebody that I reported that was from LA thought I was somebody, and she went and talked to him, and he said, "Yes, I have a few minutes." And he
That's
and he is so gracious that he wanted to talk about me. He didn't want to talk about him because it was the great debaters that year, and he wanted to know about me and what I was doing and what my plans were, and he thought I had some talent. So that's my story.
isn't that isn't that lovely? I think that's great. That's great. You see, things just work out. God works it out, doesn't
It is
he?
destiny. All we have to do is just believe enough to take a step, even a baby step. So Tawanda
Exactly.
wants to know, what is your target retirement? Tawanda is a financial guru, so of course she's going to ask this question. So what is, you say you want to retire and collect all these residuals? What is that age for you?
Well, here's the reality, Tawanda. I really don't think I'm ever going to retire because
Me
I
either.
love what I do so much. Writing to me is such an expression of creative energy, and it is such an expression of emotion. I think I'm going to always be writing. I pray I can always be writing. I pray God gives me the gift to be always writing. So, I mean, I don't ever see myself doing nothing. Um, I hope to say that I will create as much product and legacy to leave behind as I possibly can. And that means I have to work every last second right up to the very end, the way things are going.
So when you
Age yet.
So there, yeah, timeless. She's gonna be timeless. She's gonna be 120, still producing and writing and doing it from Dubai, of course. But yeah,
That would be the
great
plan.
question.
That would be the plan. Yes,
That
yes,
is
yes,
the
Lord.
plan. So y'all keep them coming. And so somebody said that that step of faith, hint, hint. I'm sure they were talking about me. So do you think that's your secret power? That's your secret power, your faith?
Yeah. Well, if I have a power, it's only coming from one place. Whatever
Mhm.
power I have, I'm getting it from one place and one place only, and I know that. And I know that. I think I've had divine guidance my entire life, and I
Girl,
thank God
if
for
I
it.
hadn't already claimed you as my sister, I would. This would be the moment I would do it again. I promise you that that touched my heart and my soul because I know without a doubt for me too that is it. My superpower is my faith.
That's
And
it.
I just want everybody to hold on to that and to pursue their dreams because if it is a dream that's in your heart, then there is a way for that dream to become a reality. Will it happen overnight? It could. I won't say that it can't, but most times it's going to take a lot of perseverance and you learning and becoming and growing into that person. But yeah, it can happen. It can definitely
Yeah,
happen.
I mean, you just have to believe. You just have to believe, and I just keep on and hope that I reach the goals that I have.
What are those
Just to keep.
goals other than to retire and collect those residual checks? What would you like? Would you
Well,
like to
like
own your
I
own
said,
network?
no, no,
No.
I'm not interested in owning my own network. Like I said, I just want to be able to create a lasting, valuable piece of art. I always look at The Godfather, and I think that is my all-time favorite movie. I think that is such a classic piece of work. An amazing, tour de force of everything from talent to writing to music to visual. I mean, that is the ultimate to me. And I would one day like to have what I would consider my godfather, that one perfect piece of work that will last forever, that people will look at forever and ever and say, wow, what a great piece of work. That's just art.
You want them
That
to
would be
talk
my
about your work years and years after, like The Godfather. And everybody has a certain part of that movie that they love, and they just use it to like chime and ping everything that's important to them, and they use it for inspiration or to make a point. Of course, we all know those sayings in that movie, and I know that's what's going to happen for you because Coins for Love. I cannot wait to watch it again Sunday, even though I've watched it and it's taken everything within me not to talk about a lot of it. Other than that, Stephen Bishop, if you didn't know him and didn't already love him, you will definitely start loving him, being in love with him. So let's talk about that because some people have tuned in that weren't on when we originally kind of talked about the movie that's going to air. It's TV One's original dramatic love story, Coins for Love. Susan Banks is the writer for that story. And so we're going to let you take it from there, Susan. Talk some more about Coins for Love.
Well, I think the reason we called it Coins for Love was because, uh, there's the reason Coins for Christmas was in there. The coins word was in there was because they have this jar of the family has a jar of change that they all keep putting change into the jar, and that's why it was called Coins for Christmas. And then I wanted to take it a step further and make that jar be even more meaningful and have those coins in there and have the feeling that even though you can't buy love, the more the jar fills up, the more love comes into the lives of the family and the
Mm,
more love that surrounds them. And that's kind of what I wanted to create about it, and to create that euphemism of
yeah.
coins for love.
Oh,
So
wow.
the story is good because you don't see a lot of Black romance stories, where you see a lot of rom-coms with Jennifer Lopez and that kind of a thing, Jennifer Aniston and those kind of people. You see a lot of romantic love stories like that. But Black love romance, which is down to earth and real. You don't see a lot of it, and so that's why it was fun to make, and it was fun to watch, and I think you'll enjoy it. I think you'll enjoy the
I
ride.
am certain they will enjoy it. And what I will say about the movie, since I've already watched it and can't wait to watch it again, I agree with you. It is a love story that is suitable to air on Hallmark, and that Hallmark is my place for those kind of movies. I just love it. But my only fault with Hallmark is that those people don't look like me, and their
Right.
relationships are a little too peachy and perfect sometimes. But I still love it. But this movie, it it people who love each other, they give each other space, but they don't necessarily run away and throw their
Right.
hands up. They may temporarily, but Black love always seems to find a way to come back, even through the toughest, and I mean the toughest situations. And I could relate to that because I've had that kind of love where it was perfect for us. It wasn't always peachy, but when those moments weren't peachy, those good moments outweighs those challenging times. And it was hard going through those. And so Coins for Love pays homage to that. So everybody can relate to it, whether you're black, white, or whatever. It doesn't matter. But people have been in love. Everybody can relate to it. It's not a perfect love. We made bad decisions, but here we are, or here we're not. So I can't give away anything, but do they get together or do they not? But those characters, Essence Atkins and Stephen Bishop,
And TC Carson is in it, whom I
yes.
love from Living Single. TC Carson,
Mm-hmm.
he is so,
He
and
is.
then of course there is Essence Atkins' first husband. The character's first husband is in the show, and Karan is so wonderful, so charming, so gorgeous. Oh my God! And when he starts to do his thing, I knew where the story was going because I wrote it. But when he started doing his thing, I started falling all in love with him too. So
Okay, I want to ask you this. As a writer, and oh, please stop talking about Stephen Bishop. I can't even hardly do this interview, okay, without thinking about him and how awesome he is. So, were you, as a writer and producer, were you able to be there and to, did you give them freedom to kind of ad lib, or
oh
how does that
yeah,
process
oh
work?
yeah. Well, I was on the set, and of course, in any movie, you're always in any show, you're always doing rewrites up to the last minute. Things don't work, things need to be tightened, things are too long, too short. You need to expand or something. You see something that happens on the set, and you think, oh my God, that would be perfect. So yeah, things change, and I think it's really important for an actor to bring their own part of it into the character. They don't have to say the words exactly. They just have to create the emotion and the feeling and get the essence of what it is I wanted them to say. And I'm
Mhm.
fine with that because I think it makes them more real if they believe in it more. And the words aren't just parroted out of their mouths, that the words are coming from inside of them as actors. And so yeah, I'm always good with that because if they can make it better or if they can make it more real, then I think that's important.
I'll
I
say
think
they
that's
they probably enhanced what you were writing. So how did that, since there was already like a part one with Coins for Christmas, and then so you were approached and said, "Hey, Susan, can you write the next sequel to this movie?" How much um power did you have to make it into what it is today as a writer?
well, I worked with Kathy Hughes. She and I talked about what was her vision for it, because this is a movie that she's producing. And I worked with her as to what her vision was for the movie. And once I figured out what her vision was, then I was able to take it and run with it and build it into, mold it and make it work with the timing and the right words and the break the acts and just make it sing. And then I was able to add things to it to make it even more spicier because I like spicy stuff. So I made it a little bit spicier and I added a little more drama because I love drama. And so I added my little pieces to it and just you take all of it and bring it together. It's like clay that you kind of have to mold, or a puzzle. You have to put all the pieces together, and then it comes out and you're like, wow, there it is. It's really amazing.
There
It's
it is.
really
So
amazing.
what would
And
be
you have
like
to
your
think the director brings something to it. The director brings something to it. He was amazing. Um, the actors bring their part to it. The hair and wardrobe people, they bring something to it, because Essence walked out on that set every day with a new do, and I was like, oh, look at her hair. Her hair is gorgeous. I
yes,
love what they did
ma'am.
with it. I mean, they all bring something to it that you didn't see in your head when you were writing it. It's amazing. The pictures I saw in my head as I was writing it are completely are so much more nuanced from what it actually comes out to be, which is great. Which is great.
Okay, I just think that could be like a weekly something. It could be like the next weekly show, Coins for Love. I don't know if you will continue to call it that as a weekly series, but it's just something about Black love, man, that oh, I want to see it every day, and I want to see it at that level. A lot of people, and it wasn't like hee haw funny. Everything wasn't slapstick, funny, 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 like we like to tend to watch in Black movies. It wasn't, there was no killing, there were no drug dealers, and that's fine for people who like that. But especially 2020 with all this stuff that's going on, we need to see love, and we need to see Black love at that level, right? So I
What the
think it's
world needs.
perfect. So Frederick wants to know, where are you from?
Where am I from? I grew up
Hmm.
in Washington, D.C. area. I was born in Washington, D.C. I grew up in Landover Hills, Maryland. And my mom was living right there in Mitchellville, Maryland, when I ended up moving back. So this is my hometown. And it's very nice being back here as much as I've been able to be.
Yeah, so that answers Frederick's question. So I have anything that you want to just interject about the movie, because I know we can't like give a spoiler alert or anything. People, please set your DVRs and everything, and it would be cool. Are you all gonna do like a live Twitter or something while the movie's on, or it? I kind of like those, but it is distracting because I really just want to watch the movie and not comment on it.
I know, I know. I have to find out from the marketing division if they're going to be live tweeting. They usually do a lot of that, so I wouldn't be surprised if they don't. I may be doing a little live tweeting myself. So
Yeah, that's what
I
I think
may.
I'm gonna do. Yeah, so we'll do it together, Susan. Since I've
Okay,
watched it, I
let's
can
do it.
probably still a few minutes here and there to kind of tweet about it, because I just want the world to watch this movie for so many reasons. And the beauty of it is the story is so good. It didn't necessarily have to be a Black love story. It is just a love story, Susan. You did an amazing job writing this story. So I wanted to ask you, and we just got so many comments coming in. Um, what would be like your ideal movie? Is it something like Godfather-ish, or is it love? Is it sci-fi? Because you've done a lot. You've done documentaries, and it hadn't always been love stories. So, what is your
Oh
favorite?
no! In fact, this was really the first time I'd ever written a love story, per se. In fact, I was a little nervous about it because I usually do drama or mystery, or, some sort of intrigue, or I wrote a few horror stories at one point for TV One. So I'm usually writing the more dramatic type thing. So I had to infuse some of that into Coins for Love. I think there's a little bit of drama in there, also because I believe in drama. But writing a love story has been exciting for me and different for me. And I was really glad when it came out and I realized, hey, I can do this too. Well, heck, I come from soap operas, folks. I've
Yes.
read single episode of The Young and the Restless, The Bold and the Beautiful, As the World Turns, and Guiding Light for 20 years. So I think I know how it works.
Oh, you know how it works. Let me just brag on you some. I'm gonna give you a time to kind of slow down and breathe because I know we've been sitting these questions for 45 minutes. I just want to tell you that not only is she just an amazing person and writer, let me just list some of her accolades, okay? Because she is so modest. So let me see where I want to start. So she received the following awards and distinctions, and she has a ton of them. I can't read them all, but the thing that I love, and this is how I met her, when Cable Facts magazine awarded her as one of the most influential minorities in cable. She's one of the most powerful women in cable. She's Ebony's Magazine's outstanding woman, one of the outstanding women. She's Promax Gold Award, Promax Award. Her branding and marketing campaigns at TV1 and CBS television have been recognized with numerous Promax Awards and multi-tele awards. She was born in Washington, D.C., as she's already told you. She holds a Bachelor of Science in Mass Communication Television Production from Emerson College, and she sits on the Alumni Board of Directors. She's also a member, and this is one thing I want to do that I haven't done. I can't figure out how to do it yet. I got to produce something, but she's a member of the Producers Guild of America, the Writers Guild of America, ATAS, and ASCA. And this lady, she already told you about the CBS and winning daytime Emmys and outstanding achievement in graphics and main title design for The Young and the Restless. Multi-awarded, y'all. Can we just clap for her? Can we just give it up for this lady right here? And let me tell you something else.
Yeah.
I know you're like, who is that lady? I want to meet her. So let me say this to you, Susan. Let me say this to you, darling. You endeared yourself again when you called me today, and I told you I thought you were calling me to say I can't do it, something's come up. And hey guys, I'm gonna say hey y'all because I'm in the South. This is her response to me, and I'm gonna try not to cry. I said, I thought you were calling to cancel. And Susan says, no, why would I do that? I said, what if some big movie house or somebody called you to say, hey, we need to talk to you right now? Susan said, I would have to tell them I have a previous engagement.
Yeah, well,
I can drop the mic. That was priceless to me.
But I have made the commitment. So of course, Loretta. And I'm delighted and pleased and so thankful that you asked me to do your show. This has been delightful, and you are delightful. And I so appreciate you thinking of me that way and building me up so much that I have to go look in the mirror and go, wait, is that me? Is who's she talking about?
Of course it's you. That's why there is no ceiling that can stop you. You are unstoppable, lady. And I know that what's in store for you after today, because of your humble spirit and your talent, and that you give God the glory, you are unstoppable. You are going to we'll see your name in lights even more. They will create awards to give to you, Susan.
Well, Loretta, I am so glad to have you as my publicity person. I appreciate you publicizing me and my work that way. It is very surprising to hear you say that, but I'm going to tell you right now, I pray that every word you speak is the truth. So
it is so.
Let's just
It
all
is
pray.
so. I don't, even though I'm in talk and I get to talk for a living and make money, I don't just talk for the sake of talking. I already shared that I have interviewed hundreds of celebrities, billionaires, millionaires, and people who were at their lowest of low, because I understand everybody needs to be recognized. We live for somebody to see us. So when I'm at those award shows and you got people who haven't done anything other than get nominated or know somebody and people don't want to interview them because they never heard of them, well, on every red carpet, I have been the one who will interview any and everybody, regardless of if you're a Denzel Washington or you somebody who just was doing wardrobe for somebody.
Susan Banks, if you Denzel Washington or Susan Banks. So I appreciate that. And I think that's beautiful. Loretta, and so are you. And girl, you are just awesome. And I'm sure you're going to be interviewing much bigger people for many, many, many years to come. I thank you very much.
Don't make me cry because I am a big crybaby. Okay, I want to put this up there. This is Amelia Baker. I got several prophetess on here, real prophetess. They don't go around and put prophetess in their name because they're real. They know where their entitlement come from, and apostles. And Amelia Baker Cole is one that is, she has God's ear, and she doesn't speak just to speak. Look what she put on here.
All
She
right,
said,
Amelia.
I'm in agreement, and it is so for you, Susan.
Thank you, Amelia. Thank you, Amelia. I needed to hear that today. That
And
means the
Sharon,
world to me.
yeah, Sharon Renee is on here. I'm sure she's going to have a word for you too. She's also a very gifted prophetess, and they don't miss words. They don't tell people they're going to get cars and houses because it's deeper than that. No Sean on prophets who is that is their word. But these ladies have blessed my life and literally had me speechless and weak in the knees for the what they told me about my destiny, that they would not have known God had to have been speaking to them. So I want to let you know it's real. So Monica Renee is, she's a super publicist, media coach, media everything. This girl has worked on some major shows. And a few years ago, God sent her to me, and she's been working on the Loretta McNary show behind the scenes. And you see what she said. Thank you so much,
All
Susan,
right,
for sharing your journey thus far. She
Monica.
herself has been in the company of tremendous talent, people with, you got to get cars and carloads to do their accolades and their trophies. So she wouldn't just say that either.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you. I am so glad to hear you say that. It means a lot. It really does. And you guys have lifted my spirits today.
You needed it because when I talked to you and you were like thanking me for asking you to be on my show, which that means the world to me. And I am a very, I have to work on this because Monica and they all tell me about being, there's a point of being humble and then being invisible. I try to be invisible with my gift, but I just want everybody else to feel good about who they are and to just let them, try to let you see what we see in you. That's who I am. And so I take what they say to me too, but I just want to make sure that people understand you too are phenomenal.
Well,
Everybody
I mean,
is. But what you
as Black
accomplished
women,
is
we
just,
need to support each other. So I
oh
think
honey,
that's
we
the
in that season now. And so you not only get me, but you get everybody that comes with me. So there's
all
no
right. I
stopping
love
you
that.
now.
I love that. I love that. I love that. That is
Okay, so I do want
fantastic.
to ask you a couple of more questions before I let you go, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Um, what advice, and I always do this with every show, regardless of the industry of the person that I'm talking with, I always want to give something to somebody who's struggling with their gift, regardless of what it is, because um, information on how to be successful is transferable, right? So it doesn't matter if you want to be a writer or a producer, you want to bake the best breads, you want to be a chef, you want to start a school. These principles work regardless. So what advice can you give to like a writer? Like I mentioned, Sheila Bell. She has series that are ready for TV. They're ready for the big screen. But because she hasn't had her person yet to help not open the door, not, get her in, but to open that door for her or to at least show her the door. What would you say to that kind of writer who wants to
Well,
do
I
what you're
got to tell
doing?
you, you said Sheila or Sharon?
Sheila,
What did you say her name?
Sheila
Sheila.
Bell. Mm-hmm.
Sheila Bell. I got to tell you one thing, Sheila. It is the hardest thing to do because the doors are basically closed. They basically are. And you have to have faith. You have to believe in yourself. You have to have a little discipline about your writing, which I struggle to do all the time. I struggle to improve my discipline in writing as often and as much as I can. And then you have to reach out. Now, there's something happening right now that I think you might be able to capitalize on. And that is the fact that I am hearing that a lot of networks and cable channels and producers are looking for Black product. That is the hottest ticket right now. I think the Black Lives Matter thing has increased the energy and interest in hearing Black voices and hearing the Black perspective. And they see the people in the streets and realize that, oh, this could be hot and could really sell right now. So don't be afraid to um, knock on doors, dare I say. I know it's hard and I know people don't open their doors often, but I think you got to have faith. And I think you got to reach out to all the places that you know that are places that would be open to stories from people of color. Now, I don't know whether that's what you're writing or not, but I do know that that is something that we should all take advantage of right now because there is an interest in that. And I think we should
Mm-hmm.
take advantage of that. And I think we should push towards that. Um, I wish I could say there's a magic wand or an opportunity or a number to call or a letter you could write. I, I can't. I can't because I know how hard it is. I have things I'm trying to do the same thing with. But it is about, getting your work read by as many people as you possibly can. Get it registered and get it read. That
Definitely.
that's my advice. I don't know if it
That's
helps or
good
not.
advice for whatever
But
you're doing too, is across the board, regardless of what you want to do. You just got to do it. Don't wait on the phone to ring. Don't wait on somebody to open. This is what I say. People ask me, Loretta, how did you get started? And they think that I had this big, because when I'm on the red carpet, I'm there right with the other national and international syndicated shows. And so people assume that I have all this money and all this backing, CBS or somebody. And I said, no, what I have is tenacity, and I believe that God chose me to do this. So I just do it. I find a
yes,
way. I find a
that
way.
is
I submit those applications. You got to do the work. You got it. Somebody said I asked their question. I don't know what that question was, but I'm glad that I asked the question because I try to think of questions that people would ask, and that's how I do my show. It's definitely not about me. So the last question I wanted to ask you, and we've been talking almost an hour. This is so cool. And all these comments are coming in. They're still coming in. How can we, Susan, how can we support you? I know to tune into this show and tell everybody to tune in on Sunday. Let's break the internet and break cable channels with everybody's TV being on TV1 Sunday at 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Pacific time, number one. How else can we support you and your goals?
um well, that's a very good question. I I think hoping that Coins for Love will be a success would help me a great deal in the next project and the project after that, because that is how people get ahead, is to have something be successful so that other people will say, oh, look, she did this, maybe we can get her to do that. So I mean, that to me would be a great deal of help. And I'll tell you the other thing you can do, and that is to pray for me and to ask God to keep his light shining on me so that I can do the things that I know he wants me to do, so that I can push forward in the work that I know the gift that he has given me to share. So I think, when many people pray, wonderful things happen.
That's for sure.
That's,
Because he only asked for two or three to get on the same accord and pray the same prayer at the same
that,
time. But if all of us, and I can assure you, if I can't assure you of anything else, you are definitely on my prayer list, that you will be on every person's prayer list is watching and that will watch. And bigger than that, we're going to support you and watch whatever you're doing. We're going to go to
well,
your
I'll be sure to
movies. We're
let
going
you
to watch.
know. I'll
Hmm?
be sure to let you know when the next one comes. I'll be sure to let you know the next time I have
Oh, honey,
something.
I'm gonna know when you know. I'll be right there with you. I'm gonna be pushing you and lifting you up and making sure you stay inspired. And you got work to do because I got to make my debut in somebody's movie.
All right, okay now. I think you would be a wonderful star. That
Well, I
would be
guarantee
wonderful.
you that these people are
But you're
praying
gonna
for
have
you, not later, but now. They're praying now.
thank you.
I
Thank
promise
you.
you they
Now,
are.
Loretta, I do have to tell you, you're gonna have to step over my sister, who has been asking me for years to make her a star. And unfortunately, I have not been able to do so yet.
You will, honey. You got a army of angels and people who gonna push you forward, push your dreams forward, and put you in prayer and get your gifts out, everything God has for you out this spiritual realm into this natural realm. And your sister will be in a movie, and her star quality is gonna depend on her. You can only introduce her. She got to do the work. I hope she's been working on
She would love
everything.
to hear that. Loretta, she would love to hear
Tell
that.
her to
So
get
funny.
ready. Tell her you got to stay ready. You can't get ready. You got to stay ready. See, Susan,
I'm
I
gonna
go to
be ready.
baseball games. I go to the park looking like this because you never know who's going to be out there.
I know
Girl,
my cousins are laughing right now because they know. They
ask
know.
my
I know my
friends.
cousins are laughing. That's wonderful. I think that's wonderful. Well, Loretta, thank you so much for this time. I've really enjoyed it.
You're
It's
the
been
best.
lovely.
You just got to embrace who you are and let that light shine, regardless of, dimming your light, which is what I believe you've done, is not helping any of us. We need that light to shine because
All
when
right
you
now.
achieve, our goals are so connected, our dreams are so connected, Susan, that if you don't do what you know you're supposed to be doing, it's gonna hamper somebody else's success who is tied to you. Whereas you won't ask for yourself because you're modest. Think of all the little girls that look like us who are waiting on you to do what you're supposed to do so that it can help them do what they're supposed to do. So don't
Wow.
do it for you because you're modest. Do it for us.
That's an amazing thing to say, Loretta. Thank you. That is amazing. That is something I'll have to think about. You are so right about that. You are so right because our little girls need a future. They
Yeah.
need a future. And I would love to be a part of the light that helps them get there.
You
That
are
would
a
be
part of
great.
it. We just need you to stop dimming your light. Stop worrying what people gonna say to you. They're gonna talk about you anyway. Just give them something to talk about, honey. That song is real. Give them something to talk about. You
Let's give
you
them
write your
something.
narrative. You get to write it.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna stop preaching
Working
and
on
teaching. I get
I'm
in that
working on
zone, girl.
it.
Okay, so I'm
So
gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it professional because I'll go because I get so serious about this when stars like you refuse to shine because you worried about somebody else's feelings. But anyway,
well,
so Monica says she's standing in agreement that Coins for Love will be a success and yield continual projects pinned by the one and only Susan Banks.
thank you so much. Thank you, Monica. Thank
Girl,
you
with all this
guys.
love that these people
It's
sending
been
you, there's no way for you to do but go up.
That's it. That's it. I'm ready to. I'm taking it now. I feel
All right.
it.
All right. So
Thanks,
this is what
everybody.
I do in closing. I don't have my little music playing, but this is something I've been saying for the last since 2007. And everybody can probably say it with me, but I say think positive, dream big dreams, and help someone else along the way do the same.
Yes. I believe in that. That's beautiful. I
Until
totally
your
believe.
return. Until your return to the Loretta McNary
Okay.
show. We're gonna say
Okay. I'm looking
adios
forward
for
to it.
now. And
Bye,
we'll talk
everyone.
soon. I'll see your story on TV Sunday. Love you. Bye-bye.
All right. Watch, guys. Bye.
Bye.